Welcome to my channel. This is Real Talk Podcast, where we dive into honest conversations, real stories, and practical English learning tips. Let's get started.
You know that feeling when you're learning a language and it seems like there's just this Everest of skills to conquer all at once?
Oh, yeah. Vocabulary, getting the pronunciation right.
Reading, listening it can feel completely overwhelming.
Totally. But what if, focusing on just one thing could kind of unlock the rest?
Exactly. Make everything else fall into place a bit more easily.
That's the core idea we're exploring today, isn't it? That zeroing in on one foundational skill might be the key.
Right. And in this deep dive, our mission is really to pinpoint that skill and understand why it's so crucial for, your language journey.
And we're drawing insights from Veronica's Language Diaries on YouTube. She has some great takes on this.
Yeah, especially on listening, which often gets, underestimated. And also the challenges of understanding, actual spoken English in movies.
We're looking at two of her videos mainly. One making the case for listening is number one.
And offering ways to improve it.
And the other unpacking why films without subtitles feel so incredibly hard sometimes.
Okay, so let's dive right in then. Veronica's argument is pretty compelling. Listening isn't just another skill. It's like the bedrock.
Yeah, the foundation everything else is built on.
What's interesting is how her own experience lines up with seasoned polyglots, like Steve Kaufman.
Right, she quotes him saying something really potent.
Yeah.
I believe that listening comprehension, not speaking, is the most important skill. If you can achieve a high level in comprehension, all other skills will follow.
Wow. That really makes you rethink the usual advice, Speak from day one.
It absolutely does. It challenges that whole idea that you have to be producing language constantly.
And Veronica also touches on that feeling that language learning must be hard work to be effective.
Yeah, the no pain, no gain thing applied to languages.
But she kind of pushes back on that, right?
She does. She suggests that if you focus on listening to stuff that's, one, understandable, and two, actually interesting to you,
then the learning can feel easier and more sustainable.
Exactly. Think about it. Forcing yourself through dry grammar versus getting lost in a cool story in your target language. Big difference in motivation.
Makes total sense. If you're constantly straining, you just get demoralized. But if you're interested,
you stick with it even if you don't catch every single word.
So, okay, how does listening actually help the other skills, like speaking or grammar?
Well, take pronunciation. Just hearing native speakers over and over.
Yeah.
It trains your ear.
Trains your ear how?
To recognize and even reproduce sounds that might not exist in your own language. Those subtle differences.
Okay. So your brain starts to pick up the nuances.
Precisely. And vocabulary becomes more organic.
Less like memorizing lists.
Exactly. You hear words in context again and again. You figure out the meaning from the situation.
Which probably makes it stick better.
Much better retention.
Yeah.
And grammar, that thing that feels so abstract. Through listening, you're just absorbing correct patterns constantly. You start to get a feel for what sounds right.
Like an intuition for it, even if you can't explain the rule.
That's it. Your brain's just soaking up the structures. Plus, like Veronica says, listening reinforces stuff you've already learned.
Okay, so listening is this, super-powered engine. But how do we actually get better at it? She gives some practical tips in that first video.
She does. Really actionable stuff. One big one is combining listening and reading.
How does that work exactly?
So you listen to an audiobook, maybe, while you follow along with the actual text, like on your tablet or in a physical book.
Right. She mentioned doing that with her iPad and phone, reading How Not to Age, I think.
Yeah, that was her example. And the benefits are, quite a few.
Like?
It helps you stay focused, for one. The text anchors you. It helps you understand more complex sentences, new words.
And connects the sound to the spelling for pronunciation.
Exactly. Really solidifies that connection.
Okay, what else? She mentioned something about making your own recordings.
Yes. This one's really interesting. Recording yourself speaking.
Speaking what?
Could be anything, really. Reading grammar rules aloud, practicing vocabulary, just, talking through your thoughts in the language.
And then you listen back.
Yeah. Makes you super aware of your own pronunciation, your rhythm, where you hesitate. It's like a personal podcast for review.
Huh. Like your own feedback loop you can use anytime. That's clever.
Very. And then there's creating fake interview clips.
Fake interviews. Sounds fun, actually.
It is. You basically pretend you're being interviewed about, everyday stuff. Your routine, your hometown, dream vacation.
So you practice answering common questions.
Right. You can even use AI like ChatGPT to give you prompts. Then you record yourself and listen back.
Ah, so you analyze your own speech patterns and mistakes.
Exactly. You're practicing thinking on your feet and listening critically to yourself. It makes you more active in your own learning.
Got it. And she also suggested weekly recaps.
Like a weekly audio diary of your learning.
So what would you put in that?
You summarize new words or phrases you learned, but crucially use them in sentences, in context.
Context is key for remembering, right?
Absolutely. And she also suggests reflecting on the week challenges, breakthroughs, how you felt about it. It helps consolidate everything.
And the last big technique, which seems basic but maybe isn't always followed.
Choose stuff you actually like and can mostly understand.
Yeah, this seems so important for just sticking with it.
Totally crucial. If it feels like a total chore, you'll drop it. She talks about finding Spanish content on yoga or travel because she's interested in those things.
So the learning should feel, ideally, kind of easy and enjoyable.
Yes. To be sustainable, it really has to.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. That other big challenge. Understanding movies without subtitles.
Ah, yes. The Mount Everest for many learners.
You feel like you're doing okay, then you hit play on a movie and bam, it's like a different language sometimes.
Right. Veronica really breaks down why that happens in her second video.
Yeah.
It's not always just about your vocabulary level.
What's the first factor then?
Sound quality and just how clearly people speak in films. Or how unclearly.
Because they're made for native speakers.
Exactly. So actors might mumble, whisper, talk super fast, overlap. It's not like language learning audio.
Plus the sound mixing, right?
Yeah.
Music, effects.
All that can drown out dialogue sometimes. And she points out, hey, even native speakers miss lines sometimes, especially with strong accents.
That's actually good to hear. Makes you feel less alone. What else makes it tough?
Connected speech. This is a huge one.
How words kind of blend together.
Yeah. Textbooks often don't really prep you for how going to becomes goa, or did you sounds like did you.
Or what do you want becomes what you want.
Exactly. All those reductions and linkages, it's disorienting if you're used to perfectly pronounced words.
Are there more resources for that now, though?
Yeah, she notes that thankfully more places are starting to teach it explicitly.
Okay, what's next on the list of challenges?
Culture. Cultural references and humor.
Oh, yeah, the inside jokes you just don't get.
Totally. Understanding idioms or references often needs background knowledge. She gave that example from Friends.
The ball dropping thing.
Yeah. She missed it because she didn't know the New Year's Eve tradition. It shows how linked language and culture are.
And humor is especially tricky.
Very. Relies so much on wordplay, shared understanding. But she does say, use AI.
Like ChatGPT.
Yeah. If a reference flies over your head, just ask it. It can give you that missing context.
Good tip.
Yeah.
And the last major challenge.
Accents. Just the sheer variety, especially in English.
British, Australian, American, Canadian. Never mind all the regional ones inside those.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Telling them apart, understanding them all. That's a skill in itself.
And the solution is basically just more exposure.
Pretty much.
Oh.
Actively listen to different accents to get your ear used to them.
Okay, so we know why it's hard. But how do we get better at understanding movies? She offers strategies for that, too.
Yes. One really good one is shadowing.
Shadowing, what's that involve?
You listen to a short bit of audio, like a movie line, and then you repeat it immediately after.
Trying to copy the sound.
Yeah, the intonation, the rhythm, the pronunciation, even the accent, as best you can.
But the goal isn't perfect imitation.
No, she clarifies that. It's more about noticing, training your ear for the flow and the patterns of natural speech.
Becoming more sensitive to the sounds.
Exactly. And another strategy, which ties back to what we said earlier.
Watch stuff you actually like.
Bingo. If you're genuinely engaged by the movie or the show, you're just going to pay more attention and absorb more, almost without trying.
Like her story about learning the word loofah.
Yeah. Just from watching a YouTuber she enjoyed. It happens naturally when you're interested.
And finally, the big one. Subtitles. What's the verdict?
Use them wisely. Her strong advice is subtitles in the target language.
So English subtitles for English movies.
Yes, and she really warns against using subtitles in your own native language.
Why is that?
Because you just end up reading. You tune out the listening part, which is what you're trying to practice.
Makes sense. You default to the easier path.
It hinders your listening development.
Okay, so wrapping this all up then. The big takeaway seems clear. Listening isn't just like one skill among many.
No, it really seems to be the foundation, the bedrock, like we said. Ignoring it can really slow down your overall progress.
Right. Getting good at listening helps your speaking, your vocab, even your grammar feel.
Definitely. It shouldn't be an afterthought. It deserves focused attention.
And we've got some solid practical techniques from Veronica to work on it.
Yeah, combining listening and reading, making those personal recordings, the fake interviews.
Weekly recaps, and just being smart about what you choose to listen to.
Exactly. Understandable and interesting. Even trying just one or two of those could make a real difference over time.
So here's maybe the final thought for you, the listener. How could really focusing on listening change your language journey?
Yeah, could it be the thing that helps unlock faster progress everywhere else?
What kind of enjoyable, understandable stuff could you start listening to, like today?
Maybe check out some online platforms or communities too. There's lots out there specifically for honing listening skills.
Worth thinking about.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time on Real Talk Podcast.